This is the Progetto 65, a Tier 10 Italian auto-reloading tech tree medium, and it is quite possibly the strongest of all auto-reloaders available in Blitz. Why? Well, that's because it's a reverse auto-reloader. That's a little confusing, but to explain, most auto-reloaders, when you dump your clip, lose damage per minute. The Caro 45 ton has 3 shells that have a reasonably fast reload, but each shell gets longer and longer on the reload until you finally make it to shell 1, which is a 21-second reload. We obviously know the Minnow has a very similar mechanic where the more you eat into the clip, the longer the reload gets. That is the same for the Cranvan. The more you eat into the shell, the longer the reload gets. However, the Progetto is really the only auto-reloader in Tier 10 that when you shoot the shells, the reload gets faster. You start at a 4.53 second reload. But remember, this thing has an intra-clip of 3 seconds. So it's actually 7.53 seconds to shoot shell 3. And then obviously shell 2 is going to be a little longer, but shell 1 is only 7.24, which essentially means that you are going to gain just a slight bit of DPM on dumping your clip and shooting shell 1 on reload than you are on shell 3. Because of that, this is a tank that you actually benefit from just full dumping into your opponents. And unlike being in an autoloader, where then you'll have to be worried about being rushed, in this tank you actually don't have to, because it has very solid single shot DPM. If we take a look at the reload, as I said, at 7.24, if we pull out my calculator very quickly, and we do 60 seconds divided by a 7.24 second reload, and then we multiply that by the 350 damage per shot, this vehicle has 2,900 effective damage per minute on its single shot. Add that to the 1,050 damage that this thing can dump, and that's 3,950 damage per minute effective, at least for 1 minute of shooting. That's pretty insane. And it really illustrates why the Progetto is crazy good. It does feature a couple downsides, which I should mention. First of all, the gun is not very accurate. Its shell velocity is pretty mediocre. It's probably around 1,000-ish meters a second, which isn't bad, but it's not a lot when you compare it to, the Leopard 1 or vehicles that have high-speed AP ammo. The vehicle also only has .326 dispersion and is kind of mediocre aiming time. Its actual on-movement dispersion is okay. I mean, you can see the vehicle's not terribly bloomed when moving, not even anywhere close to something like a 121, but that should make sense because it's a 350 Alpha, not a 420. So yeah, the Progetto gun is not what I would consider to be the most accurate. There will be shots, maybe even some in one of these 2 battles where they should have hit, but they just flat dunk into the dirt, or yeah, they don't go where you aim. The nice thing is that because you have multiple shells, it's not really the end of the world if you miss one shot. You have a couple other to hit. So we got the T-5041 off to the side. We got 1 shell, 2 shells, and he obviously gets crapped on. Let's get that 3rd shell out. My waffle kind of moved me out of the way, which was a little annoying, but not too bad. We still got the shells out. We can't hit that E100, but we might be able to hit the E75 if we back up a slight bit. Let's see. Aiming. There you go. 1 shell into the E75 and 2 shells. Again, this is where being an auto loader paired with, an auto reloader is so nice, because we have already dealt 1,500 damage this game. There's really not a lot of tanks that I can name would have been able to deal 1,500 damage as fast as we have, because you wouldn't have the opportunity to shoot all these shots, But that's just where this tank feels so dang nice. So we're going to aim it on the 268. We're going to get a bounce because I hate that thing's armor. But let's get a 2nd shell into his vehicle. Looks like he's either lagging out or he's really bad. I'm going to make the guess that he's lagging out, but that's fine with me. He lost 700 hit points to our tank, which is pretty good. We're going to reload again. I'm just waiting for my camo to reset, so that's why I'm not poking. But once it does reset, we can aim it on this T124. Get a bounce on his lower plate. That's a good example there of where the dispersion's pretty mid. To be fair, it was a tricky shot, but still. I mean, a Leopard 1 would obviously hit that like any day of the week. So, its dispersion is not what I would consider anything amazing. Now we got the 268 off to the side. Got 1 shell in, and let's finish him off. There you go. Nice. I knew that the E4 wouldn't be able to shoot me due to this building on the side. So, not a bad result so far. We're up to 2,900 damage, which is obviously a lot. and we're trying our best here. Now, our team's not doing bad. We did get spotted, though. That has to have been the E4 who's in that bush right there. So for now, I'm just going to chill here and wait. I'm not going to make any stupid moves because I don't want to be crapped on by an E4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait a little bit longer, and then I'm going to poke this bush right over here. Not even bush, but I'm just going to poke this spot. Yes, I was indeed right. The E4 is right there. We get 1 shell into his vehicle, tracking him and breaking his ammo rack. 2 shells into his vehicle, breaking his ammo rack again. And come on, give me that ammo rack. Unfortunate. It would have been so funny if I had full health racked him. But, I mean, we literally just annihilated that E4's health. We took 1,000 off him. He's obviously not too happy with me here. So we're just going to reload. And let's see. Track him again? No, unfortunate. Didn't get the tracking shell up. But guess what? You're gone. Again, this is where being able to store shells and auto-reload is amazing for a vehicle like this. Because, again, I don't have a deficit of DPM. I can just clip that E4. He thinks he's a big, strong man, tries to poke me. Well, that's fine. I've got more shells loaded for you, dude. You're not going to win. Alright, well, let's reload. We got the K91 off to the side. There you go. Easy shell. And the Kron does, unfortunately, shoot me. We'll get 1 shell. Ooh, that was a little sussler, I'm not going to lie. But we got the shells out that we needed to. Kron's going to start looking at the Chieftain, which means we can reload again. There's 1 shell into the Kron, and again, because we've reloaded a 2nd shell, we can finish him off. Do I really need to say anything else? This is the reason why auto-reloaders are so good. And this is why the Progetto is so good. I don't care what anybody says. There is not a single medium that you could have pulled out that would have been able to do what I did and get out as much damage and get away with what I did in this gameplay. A Leopard 1 may have 4,000 DPM, but it would not have had the opportunity early game to get out as much damage as I did on that 54E1. It wouldn't have had the opportunity to shoot the E75 twice. It wouldn't have had the opportunity to clip the T110E4 when he missed, and then get another 2 shells into the E4 after he poked. I wouldn't have had the opportunity to shoot that Kron twice, because, again, he's an auto-reloader as well. It is just a fantastic example of how, sure, the vehicle may not have the most effective DPM, but in reality, as long as you can reload, you know, stay in the sidelines for a second or two, you're always going to have shells, and the take is just crazy because of that. So first game went obviously very well. We did 6,000 damage. That's actually the highest game I've been able to pull out in the vehicle yet. To be fair, I've only played like 10 games in the tank. So up against us in our second game, we have a TVP and an STB-1 for mobility. They do have some pretty nasty tanks though. Jagdpanzer 4005, so I'm going to be a little careful. Looks like our team is doing the classic I'm bad at the game and going to town, so I don't really have much of a choice. I'm going to go town. Now, the only good thing about being a medium on town side is that I can make this crossing and get maybe some early game shots off without really bleeding any health. But apart from that, it's really not good to be here. I'd much rather be in a haul down tank like an STB, you know, something like that. But oh well. We're going to chill right here. We'll see if any of the heavies... Oh, there you go. Enemy IS-4. Nice, easy shot into his vehicle. We got the Yag. And we got a nice shell into him. Alright, let's aim it on the Yag's plate again. Ah, that's a good example there, as the Progetto gun does miss an easy shot. As I did say, this gun is very Sussler or Mogler on its shots, and that was a fantastic example. So we can see that everybody but the mediums is over here, and that's because our 268's fighting the enemy TVP. Rather interesting. Alright, let's get a shell into the enemy Yag's lower plate. We got the E5. There you go. Nice shot into him. He gets crapped on. Let's aim at another shell, and again, another fantastic example of the accuracy. But we've been doing okay so far. We've gotten some big slaps out. The Shag is not too happy with me, but we're going to make sure that he's still not happy with us. Getting another 360 damage shot into his tank. Alright, let's reload again. Aim it on his vehicle. Ah! Even though I'm running Cali, you can see just how strong the Jagdpanzer armor is. It's actually a little redonkulous in my opinion, but there's not much I can really do about that. There you go, another nice shot into the enemy Jagdpanzer. We've brought him down quite a decent chunk at this point. I don't think he's too happy with me, to be real, but again, just a great example of why the single shot capabilities on this vehicle paired with the clip is so nice. So at this point, we're going to reload. We're going to aim it on the Yag's plate. There you go. He misses again because, let's be real, he's not the best at the game. Come on. Ah, again, I just don't have the pen to cut through his vehicle. The only opportunity I would have is hatching him, but obviously that's not going to happen. So we do get irritatingly shot by the STB. Thankfully, though, he gets shot back, which means we can hopefully just kind of chill here for a little bit. Is the TVP low? I don't see the TVP as of yet. But we're just going to wait for my reload. And, okay, the TVP is somewhat low. Not anything insane, but low enough that we should be able to get some decent damage in it. Especially with the TVP chilling right there. He's not even looking at me, so we're going to get one shell in. There you go, 340, and bye-bye. Nice. Okay, that was obviously very important, being able to bring that player down to a one-shot. We got the 4005 off to our side, but he's not looking at us, so we're going to aim it on the STB rear. There's one 350 damage shot, and goodbye. Again, this is where being an auto reloader is amazing, because instead of being in a situation where I'm worried, I'm never worried. I've got high DPM in this tank where I can get shells into the 4005 on single shot, but I've also got really, really good mobility, and I got everything else going for me as well. We're going to load in an HE. He actually wasn't running Spall, but our shell still really, really low rolled. But I mean, who cares? We already did a very solid chunk of damage this game. Easy victory, and again, showcasing why the Progetto is so good. We absolutely bullied that enemy team. So we got a victory, and how much damage did we end up dealing this battle? I would say maybe 4,500. Let's see. Yep, 4,684. We assisted not too much, but that makes sense because we were on town side, and we actually aced it, which means we're going to make a decent 150,000 credits. Overall, the Progetto is fantastic. I would highly recommend for anybody that hasn't gotten this vehicle to grind it. I know I've said that for a lot of takes in 10.3, but this is definitely one of the best. I mean, the fact that you've got this clip, the fact that you've got mobility, you've got gun depression, you've got even DPM now, it's such a good medium. I love this vehicle. It at one point was my favorite tier 10, and it still might be up there. I mean, this vehicle I believe is better than the Caro. There's a lot of people that think the Caro is busted, and sure, there are certain moments where that 380 alpha and 4 shell clip is amazing, but remember, the Caro loses damage per minute when you eat into the clip. It's most effective on single shot. The Progetto gains DPM dumping your clip. So this is definitely a better tank because of the way it's played. But let me know. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.